Hello and welcome to this presentation of Benjamin Wall Matson, where I will be explaining Brexit and all its positive and negative outcomes, and some of the oppositions and for and against and all that jazz. I'll start I will start by explaining what Brexit really is. Now, Brexit is it's two words, Britain and exit, put together to make the word Brexit, to explain whether or not the UK is going to leave the European Union or not. Now, there's there's a lot actually, because the people for this, the majority actually, won the referendum, and Brexit is happening. It's actually happening. And so there are a lot of pro arguments for this. The first one is about immigration, because a lot of British citizens believe that immigrants are stealing their jobs, and there's spots at schools. Like, the British basically feel like they aren't able to participate in their own country because majority of jobs, easy jobs, and school is being taken by immigrants who are coming in by the thousands. So they are angry that nothing is being done, and that they are being left without having the opportunity to have any saying in this. Just stumbling in my words here, but that's okay, because I'm going to keep going. Okay, so what comes on next is that I don't know, or I'll be like, it's Brexit, man. Brexit. Just want to just chill about it. Just be chill. Just be chill about it. It's just, it's Brexit. For and against. So there are these, four arguments. People are arguing that this is a good idea. They're saying that immigration needs to be fixed. Let's get just by bullet points. Immigration needs to be fixed. Housing. Wait, what? No, nothing. It's nothing about housing. Forget about that. They're feeling that not just immigration, but also, like, just making a better England. Sort of like they want to leave because they feel like they're being regulated by the EU in ways that reduce their ability to increase their own sort of economic growth and other growths that is regulated by the EU. And they also feel like it would be, well, not just the people, but also people who have in higher ranks economically believe that it's a good idea to leave, because it will give them the ability to have to be able to trade worldwide, and not just within the just only the EU countries. They would have a wider economic growth spread thingy. And it also, there's also this person called it was this really smart person called, let's see, anyhow, that person said that the value of it's easier to do trade worldwide because it's better. And the person is Gerard Lyon. That's his name. That is his name. And furthermore, arguments for, just they want Britain. Basically, the British citizens want Britain for themselves. They want to have Britain for themselves. They want to make Britain British, and they want to keep it British, and they don't want other influences, other restrictions, people looking at them, taking care of them. They want to make their own future. They want to build their own country the way they want to build it, and they don't want to have the EU kind of babysitting them, taking care of them and all that. They want to, put their foot down and be like, we can do this. We don't need your help. But of course, there are those people that disagree, that believe that this is a really bad idea. And what they're saying is that it's actually the fact that the people who want to leave, they think that it's going to be cheaper. I think I forgot to say that, but they think that if they leave, it'll be cheaper because their economy is based on the world economy, and they believe that's cheaper. It's going to be cheaper. Everything's going to be cheaper. Food is going to be cheaper. Schools and all that stuff. But the people that are against, they are saying the opposite. They're saying it's more or less probably going to be more expensive. And they're also saying that this is probably going to benefit rich people more than the common folk. Because, well, now the rich people don't have to just be within the EU. And everything will be cheaper for them, and they can use cheaper workforce, I guess. No, I don't guess. I know. And therefore, people that are against, they also believe that it's scary. It's just scary. They don't think that it's good. It's bad. Because it's uncertainty. It's uncertain. No one knows what's going to happen. No one knows the consequences, or what could happen or what could not happen. So they don't want the people that vote exit, that they fear that the legacy, the British legacy might be ruined by leaving the EU and everything they worked for and build up. So they're always, that's a scare. They're afraid of that. And that's basically the major point. And it's also a point to talk about is that people that vote against Brexit, they are afraid of the security. Because if if UK leaves the EU, it's no longer a part of Europe per se, which means it won't really be under protection of Europe, because that was something that the EU was about, the European countries helping each other. And if UK isn't a part of the EU anymore, it makes the EU weaker, because along with the United States, the EU was strong with the major powerhouses, which is the UK and United States. And if the UK leaves, it'll make the European Union weak and, well, weaker. We don't know, and it'll make we don't know what would happen to the UK. Now, those are some really vague, poorly explained arguments, but I'm gonna have to pick a side. I'm also gonna comment to newspaper articles, which I find very interesting, who argue for two different things. The first one, which is the Daily Mail, which argues it. Well, it argues it's a pro Brexit journal, and it says, well, the title says, "Take a bow, Britain." It's the one we looked at in class, and it's a pretty good example of pro Brexit, a pro Brexit newspaper. And then we have the Daily Mirror, which is also the one we looked at in class, and also a pretty good example, and which says as a main title, "So what the hell happens now?" So skepticism, uncertainty, which is a counter Brexit argument, which I covered. Those are very counteractive newspapers, which I covered. So that's covered. Now, I need to give my own opinion, which is also important. And I personally have had I personally thought a lot about this. It's really bothered me because the idea that the uncertainty that everyone is afraid of, it's really what's messing up my decision, because how do you really know? You can't. If you're pro Brexit, it's luck and intuition. You don't know what's really gonna happen. So it's like you don't know what's gonna happen. You really don't know. So the safest choice would be to stay. So being against Brexit. But I believe that I'm more or less leaning towards leaving the EU. So being a pro Brexit. I think I'm going to stick with that because, well, Norway is not a part of EU, and we're fine. We're totally fine. Kind of one of the best countries in the world. So I believe the UK might be able to end up in maybe that kind of situation where they can develop a good economy and have that the country can develop and maybe end up into something like Norway, which would be good. It would be great to have like like a superpower, which would have like a Norwegian government. That would be amazing. So I think I'm gonna be for pro Brexit, because that would, as the billionaires say, it's gonna help with the market, and that might in turn help the country develop really fast, and hopefully help maybe the minority groups in England rise up, get education, and go to school, and it will give maybe it'll give employment to standard British citizens. I don't know how that's gonna happen. What they're gonna do with immigrants and stuff and that sort of stuff, because that's still a problem, and I don't think that's gonna change that drastically at all in the UK, because it's pretty much that same way anywhere in Europe at the moment. But yay, I think I've covered most of the topics now. I'm just gonna double check just to be on the safe side, because you never know when you did something wrong. Yes, I think this was okay. I did ramble a lot. There was a lot of rambling because I was trying to do this, real quick and be like not quick, but try to talk it through, see how my English, how it works out, and all that. And now I'm talking too much. I'm gonna stop this video now because I think I'm done, and I'm sorry.